What's going on? Are we live? We're live. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to SIBZ, West Coast, East Coast siblings. Guys, more Snyderverse. Zack Snyder just keeps winning. Now, let me tell you, there's a reason why this image came out today of Wayne T. Carr today. Obviously, as we know, Army of the Dead just came out today. Well, in theaters. It's coming out in streaming later. And Zack knew what he was doing. He knew that this was going to build up hype. But the problem is, why isn't this hype going toward the Snyder Cut? Zack's going to do what he's going to do. He's an artist. He's already made his art, and he's showing it to the world. And his fans are loving it, obviously. But instead of Warner Brothers being able to capitalize on all this, right, and being able to make more money and push this, now Netflix is getting all that. Army of the Dead is getting all that press because Zack Snyder's getting the press. Warner Brothers has tried time and time again to shut the Snyderverse down. Hashtag restore the Snyder Cut. All of it. They've made so many moves from even what happened with the fiasco a couple weeks ago. I didn't even touch it because I was so furious of them releasing the Whedon cut trailer of the Justice League. It's just more nonsense. Like, Warner Brothers is just not done with their childish games. Like, they just won't give the people what they want. So Zack Snyder's like, you know what? Forget y'all. We obviously don't have a good relationship anymore. So Snyder's saying to Warner, I'm going to release this stuff. I'm going to show the fans this kind of stuff that they want to see. Let me put the chat up here just so I can be sure to see you guys' chat. Be sure to hit me with a chat down in the comment section below as we talk about this. So yeah, Wayne T. Carr, right here, Green Lantern. We got super fuzzy pictures because Snyder just showed it on his phone, but somebody was quick with the phone and they pulled out that video recorder and got this image. And so now it's up online, and it looks fantastic. It looks really good. You know what? It is reminiscent of the, dare I say it, Ryan Reynolds aesthetic. You know, they've had different Green Lantern costumes, but this is the really classic costume. But it looks like the actual comic suit. It doesn't look like the new CGI thing that they tried to do with Reynolds' version with all the lines in between it and all that weird stuff. It looks almost leather. I mean, obviously, we're working with a blurry image, but it almost looks like a leather suit. It's kind of shiny. You can see the power ring. Looks fantastic. I mean, he's a young Jon Stewart. Typically, you're used to seeing a Jon Stewart that's in his late 30s, early 40s, looking a little bit more mature. But I think, you know, he fits the suit and it works for him. So Snyder, obviously, he's been doing a lot of press for Army of the Dead on Netflix. And again, I just feel like Snyder Cut has to be restored. I mean, I know that it's been a long fight, but guys, remember, we're used to this. We fought for what, 4 years for the Snyder Cut. So it's just the beginning of another long journey. It's going to take some time. It's going to take possibly another 2 years of pressure before Warner Brothers finally says, you know what, just give them what they want. It's going to take, you know, and I hate that they pit the audience and the fans against other creators, because how do you make your voice known? With your wallet. You make your voice known with your money. And if people boycott all of Warner's other stuff, it's not fair to those creators. They just want to create on DC properties themselves. And I honestly, I'm not a huge fan of J.J. Abrams and his reboots and how he does franchises, but if he still deserves a chance, that's fine. But what Warner is doing is they're pitting the audience against the creators. Hey Isaiah, what's going on? Oh, long time no see. Welcome to the chat. We're talking the new Green Lantern, Wayne T. Carr. Zack Snyder teased it. He's obviously been doing a lot of press for the Army of the Dead movie, which came out in theaters today. But, you know, I feel like this is all press that Warner should be getting. They should be getting all this popularity. But they've been so nasty to the fans, and they've been so nasty to the fan base, and in general, just mean to the media. You know, it's like people don't want to associate with Warner Brothers. And Zack's like, you know, he could have kept all this to the chest. Zack has seen so many things that we've never seen. And as far as images and stuff like that, yeah, Wayne looks great. It looks really good. I like the suit, the Green Lantern suit. It looks comic accurate. Typically, you remember with the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern costume, there were like lines through the body and stuff like that. Or like muscle looking ridges and stuff like that. It was pretty weird, but I like this Wayne Green Lantern costume much more. And like I had said earlier in the stream, I feel like Typically we're used to seeing a bit of an older John Stewart, a little bit more mature, like maybe late 30s, early 40s. But this guy he's younger, but that's okay because obviously he's meant to be in future movies. They wanted to have, a relatively unknown, and have him come in and spend 10 years in the franchise or whatever as Green Lantern. But just, before we really dive into the suit and the way that it looks, it's ridiculous the fact that Restore the Snyderverse is so hard to see happen, to come to fruition. And again, we fought 4 years for the Snyder Cut, so it's not like this is anything new. It's only a few months removed from the release of the Snyder Cut, but it's just gonna be maybe another year or two of fan pressure. And that's kind of the point that I was making before Isaiah jumped on the chat is I hate the way that they pit the fans against the other creators. I was talking about J.J. Abrams and all those other people doing DC properties. That's fine, but typically the only way for an audience to voice their opinion is with their wallet. It's with their money. And how do you show that you don't approve of something? Dare I say it, it's a boycott situation. So many Snyder fans are going to be boycotting the other DC properties to make their point on the Snyder Cut, and it's not fair that they're pitting those two things against each other. We should be able to enjoy the Snyder Cut as we want it and have that be like the main DC universe. But yeah, sure, Joaquin Phoenix Joker was great. I want to be able to go see James Gunn Suicide Squad and all that stuff. I don't want to have to boycott stuff just to make a point about Snyder. It's not fair to the fans, and Warner seems to not care at all. It's been one of probably the ugliest corporate showings that I've seen by a company like this, where they are just steamrolling the wants of the fans. And Zack Snyder's a rock star right now, probably the most popular filmmaker in the world right now. Was that a hot take? No, I don't think so. I mean, how can you? The dude had Snyder Cut. He was associated with Wonder Woman, but that didn't, we'll not talk about that. Wonder Woman 2, not Wonder Woman 1. And now Army of the Dead out in theaters, right? So, I mean, the dude is a global star, and now all the press that he could be bringing to Warner Brothers Justice League, right? Snyder Cut is going by the wayside. And of course, the numbers are ridiculous. I don't know if you guys have seen the latest numbers from China. 330 million streams of Snyder Cut. The American that's like the entire American population. Just about 330 million people. That's like if everyone in the United States watched the Snyder Cut, that's what they're doing in China alone. One country. And of course, China has a huge population. They got over 1 billion people there. But still, these numbers are ridiculous. Warner Brothers is throwing away money. And at this point, I'm like, somebody's got to be thrown away. Like, who is in charge of this? Where what's a company's primary goal? It's to make money. Okay, to keep the brand image looking pretty in front of the fans, in front of the press, and to make money. There is not a single property Warner has, period, right now. I don't care. Your Harry Potter, your Matrix. I don't care. Right now, the Snyder Cut is #1, not only at Warner, but in the world. And they're just like, so what? We'd rather do what we want to do. It comes off like a spoiled child. They have no desire to do what's actually smart and use their minds. But, they'd rather throw away the money just to get what they want. I think that's the craziest thing. But let's get into this Wayne Carter image, because there's always going to be Snyder Cut to talk about. There's always going to be Snyderverse to talk about. So I'll show you right here. It looks good. I ain't got the screen share going now. We ain't fancy like that yet. Not today. Yeah, look at the suit. I mean, it was already a blurry picture, and now it's being shown through a webcam, so it's probably not looking too great. But you can get an idea. You see, he's got the ring on. He's got the suit that looks really good, really comic accurate. It looks fantastic, honestly. Way better than the Reynolds one. The main difference being those lines in the suit, those stripes in the suit. Really good. Again, a young-looking Green Lantern, but Snyder's got so much stuff that he could show us. He really does. He's probably got the entire scene shot of Green Lantern. And mark my words, we might see some of this in 5 months, 6 months. Some leaked footage of Wayne as Green Lantern. You can't tell me that's not going to leak. And especially the worse they keep treating Snyder, there's no way he's not going to say, forget y'all. I've got this footage, sue me. Straight up. Yeah, um, it's kind of his thing. It's his property. He owns the rights to what he filmed. I mean, Warner obviously owns rights too. They gave him a lot of the money to finish the principal photography. Uh, but there might be a chance he's willing to take because the amount, are you kidding me? Talk about reinvigorating the fan base. You show footage 5-6 months after the Snyder Cut comes out of Green Lantern. And we got John Jones. They didn't get, man, it's just crazy how so many people were taken out of the Snyder Cut. I lost my train of thought on the other thing because I got distracted. I was just blown away by the fact that Green Lantern, John Jones, well, the Joker was added in later, but he wasn't in it. Roy, Dr. Choi, the Atom, taken out of it. All these characters straight up taken out of the movie. It's like a shell of itself. And of course, I'm sure many of you, as I have watched the Snyder Cut multiple times by now, it's just through and through a better movie. After seeing the Whedon Cut, I didn't want to see it again. I never purposely sat down and watched it again. I saw bits and pieces on TNT. You know how sometimes you just have TNT on, like people do, and it's just on. And they know that DC, those movies, they're always doing well. Let me read your comments real quick. Exactly. I meant it was supposed to be Snyder's vision and Warner Brothers messed it up. Yeah, absolutely. They messed it up. And again, the biggest thing that frustrates me is that this was Warner's vision at one point. They hired Zack Snyder. They hired him to do this, to create this universe. And what? Now they're upset that people like it? Like, is this not the best scenario? Don't you want people to like it? But no, now that they want to move on, they're going to punish the fans for liking what they said they should like. I mean, did you see the advertisements for all the DC stuff? They were pushing this stuff hard back in the days of Man of Steel and all that stuff, rebooting everything, Wonder Woman, all that stuff was great. And people loved it. It's like it blows my mind how companies like this can get away with this. It's almost like audience abuse. Is that a thing? I don't want to create, especially in our day and age, I don't want to create a new thing that people can complain about, but people like to complain. But seriously, it's just like the worst that I've seen a fan base treated. And I'm a fan of a lot of different, from tech to music to, DC, Marvel, all that stuff, you name it, The Boys. I've even been covering Jupiter's Legacy, so if you want to see my series on that, I think I'm on episode like 5 or 6 now. But yeah, I've never seen a fan base treated with such disdain, such they villainize the fan base in a lot of ways, and I don't understand it. Somebody's got the weed whacker outside my house. I gotta close that window, but it's gonna look crazy if I do that. Anyway, I'm not gonna stay on here long. I just wanted to react to the Green Lantern new image. I'll show y'all again. Fantastic. Oops, that was Twitter. Oh, crazy thing. I got locked out of my Twitter account. Let me tell you this story real quick. Story time before I go. This morning, I got locked out of my Twitter account. Now, I was just updating my profile picture and my banner and stuff like that. And I look on at Chris Grant Jr., by the way. I look on there, and it says my birth year was 96. My birth year is 97, right? So I'm like, okay, let me change this real quick. I change it to 97. It says I'm locked out of my account. And get this, here we go. Twitter says you must be 13 years or older to use Twitter. What? Like, okay, this is a computer, right? Twitter is it's software, ones and zeros. It's math. How does Twitter not know that 24 is older than 13? And of course, I got all the warnings before I changed my age saying, you have a limited amount of times to change your age. And I've never changed it before. So I was like, okay, well, 1 can't be that bad. And I know your age isn't something that changes, but for some reason it had the wrong year. Probably when my account was being set up, just was rushing through it, whatever. Probably when I was about 13 when I set it up. Ridiculous. And so now at 24, they're saying that I'm not 13. So I had to go through all this hoopla and stuff, sending in identification and name and all that stuff to get all that reinstated. Ridiculous. Go follow me over there though if you're into Twitter and stuff. That's how you can keep the conversation going because I'm on Twitter a lot more now. I'm starting to find it took me years to understand Twitter, like, and why people liked it. I was typically a YouTube person, obviously, but yeah, kicked off of Twitter because I have to be 13 years or older, and I was born in '97. Doesn't make sense. Anyway, guys, that is the Green Lantern. Okay, fantastic, looks amazing. My prediction would be that we're gonna see some Green Lantern footage probably in 4 to 6 months. I would say, just to keep Zack Snyder at the front of the press like he's been for months and months and months and months now. Pretty much since it was announced that they were going to bring the Snyder Cut to HBO Max, he's been at the front of the press. Probably the most popular filmmaker in the world right now. Army of the Dead out in theaters. Let me know if you want to see me do an early review on that. I'll probably check that out in the theaters at some point. It doesn't come out on streaming until the 21st. So for those of you guys who want to see it on Netflix, you got to wait a little bit longer. I did a reaction to the first 15 minutes that they showed. They showed the first 15 minutes of the film on Twitter yesterday with Snyder. Some folks, Grace Randolph, she's doing a Q&A with those folks at some point. So yeah, I did a reaction to that. So check that out. Links to everything will be down in the description below. I got tons of more Snyder Cut stuff. So check out all my videos on that. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, hit the sub button. Shout out to Isaiah. You've been a great subscriber. Great. We got to do something for you soon. We'll do a giveaway or something. So hit the subscribe button, click the bell so you don't miss. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.